Siphoning the Stone by Stephen Meehan.
Tiatha's silk shawl whipped behind her as she walked down the street. When she came to a particular building, she halted, turning to face the entrance and grinned. With a glance to each side, she stepped up to the doors, touching the clasp on her belt, and strode through the thick wooden panels. Once inside, she hurried to the map of the interior. The lithe elf placed her finger on the picture, tracing the floors. Her head shook as she dismissed each room until her fingertip landed on the image titled The Library. As she traced the best route to her destination, her smirk widened, flashing her toothy smile at the building's diagram. Her hands ran up her arms, shifting the position of the shawl and tripping another spell which lightened the hue of her skin and shifted her clothing to a dull gray. As she melted into the shadows, Tiatha spun on her heels and started walking through the arch leading into the primary section of the museum. She twisted her way through various hallways as she sought her prize. When she entered the library, she paused and studied the mystical tomes. While Tiatha walked around the railing, she traced the spine of each volume, and her eyes sparkled. She stopped when she came to the staircase and allowed her fingers to linger on a book's cover. Tiatha took a deep breath, letting the parchment scent fill her nose. Reluctantly, Tiatha tore her fingertips away from the tome and marched down the elegant marble stairs, heading straight for the pedestal in the middle of the room. Tiatha placed her palms on opposite sides of the glass box and closed her eyes. With every syllable that tumbled past her lips, purple energy rose from her extremities and spiraled around her arms. As her chanting increased, her eyelids started glowing a pale gold, and violet lightning shot through the case, wrapping around the jewel sitting on an ornate pillow. Tiatha pulled her hands closer to her chest, and a ghostly version of the gem emerged. The copy soared towards her, along with flickering tendrils attached to her fingertips. The energy connecting the two stones glared brightly, and the translucent duplicate under the glass faded until it disappeared, while the stone hanging in the air solidified.
You truly are remarkable,
a voice said, shattering the silence filling the museum. Tiatha gripped the crystal in her left hand while her other traced a pattern on its largest face. The instant it vanished, she spun towards the interloper, raising her fingers to her neck. She licked her lips and rolled her eyes.
Why did the council send a hunter after me?
You forced me here, considering you've become a rogue sorceress.
When the council forced me out, they declared I'd never receive that label, Hunter.
True,
the hunter said as he descended the stairs and pointed at the empty case.
And the council preferred that arrangement. However, you violated your obligation.
Obey those fools?
Tiatha asked as she snickered.
The council is incapable of determining the best way to handle the rabble, and unfortunately they sent you after me.
Hunters are powerful mages,
he said, as he lifted a glowing finger.
As the individual that helped craft our training, I'm surprised that you acted so foolishly.
Tiatha pressed the stone at the nape of her neck.
I am well aware of your capabilities, but you're ignorant of mine.
Twirling her fingers, she shifted her body weight to her toes.
None of those pompous fools appreciate the depth of my skill.
The hunter swallowed a retort as his glowing finger brightened, turning an ominous shade of blue.
The wiser course would be to leave.
I'm aware of the power that gem grants,
the hunter said,
but it takes a while for the wielder to access its potential.
Tiatha's smile widened as her teeth elongated.
Hunter, while you focused on the propaganda the council spouts about this stone, I am familiar with its genuine power.
The hunter shook his head and pointed his finger at the former councilwoman.
I'm sorry that it's come to this.
The crackling blue bolt lashed from his fingertip and raced through the room, slamming into Tiatha. When the spell died, she brushed her chest and lifted an eyebrow.
Was that the best you could do?
How?
The hunter asked as his legs wobbled.
I am the owner of the stone.
Tiatha straightened her shawl and strode toward the collapsing hunter.
My ancestor crafted this stone, and it will always obey my whims.
She reached out and ran her finger down his cheek. Tiatha lifted the man's chin, forcing him to his feet, and positioned her mouth next to his ear.
I tried being nice, but you forced this response.
Please, let me leave.
Tiatha placed her hand against his chest, and it glowed a bright red, as if it were nothing more than blazing embers. The man quivered and strained, trying to retreat.
Hunter, you can't escape.
Tiatha whispered as she pushed her glowing palm into him.
You are mine, from the moment you approached me.
I'll be your eyes and ears.
The hunter squealed. As her hand brightened, smoke began wafting up from it.
What compelling reason can you give me to trust someone so willing to betray his beliefs?
Tiatha, please don't do this.
Goodbye,
Tiatha announced as she shoved her arm through his torso. When her fingers broke through, the glow transferred into the hunter. With a grin, she moved her finger from under his chin to his lips, silencing his last scream. As the light spread, his body turned to ash, and she pulled her hand out of the hole. She grabbed her shawl and lifted it over her head before dropping it. As the cloth touched her skin, the spell embedded into the garment flared to life. The fabric wrapped around her, and with a bright flash, Tiatha vanished, leaving an empty case and ashes.
With that, our story concludes. I hope you've enjoyed today's reprieve from your daily grind. If you like the vibe, hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, because every bit helps get this channel spread to those who require a momentary chance to unwind. I'll see you for the next tale, my friends.